I was standing in the private donor corridor of Al Safa Medical Complex at 11:42 a.m. when my mother said it out loud. Not quietly, not carefully. She said it where the glass walls carried sound. "Sign it," she said. The folder in her hand was embossed. Legal-grade paper. Not a suggestion, a transfer agreement. My house, Unit 14B, Marina District. Market valuation $1,187,300. I didn't take the folder immediately. I looked at the timestamp on my tablet first. 11:43. I was tracking a delayed delivery, 2 ventilators. Serial numbers ending in 8821 and 8824. They were 36 minutes late. That mattered more. My sister leaned against the wall, arms folded. She smiled like this was already resolved. My brother stood beside her, silent, rehearsed. They had chosen the location carefully. The donor wing. The plaque behind me read my name. Rahid Islam. Lead Systems Architect. Pediatric Expansion Initiative. Total contribution $4,500,000. They stood under that plaque while asking me to give up my house. That detail mattered. "I'm in the middle of a systems check," I said. My voice stayed even. No rise, no drop. My mother stepped closer. "This is family," she said. "That matters more." I calculated the statement. Emotional override attempt, no supporting data. I took the folder then, not to agree, to review. Transfer clause, immediate, no compensation. Beneficiary, my brother, no repayment structure, no conditional triggers, clean extraction. I noticed the legal firm. Hassan and Karim Associates. I had paid their retainer last year, $22,600 for my mother's property dispute. That mattered too. "You already have a house," my sister said. "He needs stability." I looked at my brother, his watch, $3,200, his car, $78,000. No income record in the last 14 months. Stability was not the issue. Structure was. I didn't argue, I annotated. Clause 4.2 waiver of future claims. That meant once transferred, I had no recourse. My mother pushed the pen toward me. "Just sign," she said. I looked at the corridor clock. 11:46. Then I looked at you. If someone asked you to give up your foundation in a place built on your name, what would you do? Because I didn't hesitate, I closed the folder. "I'll review this properly," I said. My sister laughed. My mother sighed. My brother finally spoke. "Don't make this difficult." I didn't respond emotionally. I opened my tablet again, logged the delay, ventilators still in transit. Escalation flagged. Then I saved a new note: date, time, location, request, asset transfer under social pressure. Status, pending. That was the moment the system began to change. I was not always positioned as the solution. That role developed gradually, then locked into place without formal agreement. At 24, I was a junior biomedical systems analyst, managing asset tracking for a mid-tier clinic network. My income was stable, not exceptional. My availability was the real asset. My mother identified that first. She learned that I responded quickly, under 30 seconds to most requests. That response time created expectation. Expectation became dependency. The first transfer I logged was $412, $75. A medication bill, she said, was urgent. I verified nothing. I trusted the context. That was the initial failure point. Within 9 months, the requests scaled, not randomly, predictably. My sister handled reputation pressure. She would mention how relatives compared us, how my night shift sounded low status. Then she would pivot, a request framed as temporary support, usually between $600 and $900. My brother used a different method. He framed requests as opportunity. Car repairs tied to future work, small business setups with projected returns. None documented, none verified. He spoke with confidence. That was his leverage. I tracked the numbers later. $18,204, $33 in the first year. No repayments, no formal agreements, just verbal assurances and immediate recurrence. My mother controlled the timing. Thursdays at 8:11 p.m. That was her pattern. Always the same opening line. Are you free for a minute? It was never about time. It was about access. I reduced friction without realizing it. Linked accounts, enabled fast transfers, removed confirmation steps. I optimized their ability to extract resources from me. That was the structural error. By 28, I had transitioned into hospital systems architecture. I managed procurement pipelines, compliance audits, and infrastructure scaling for multi-floor medical expansions. My compensation increased, so did their expectations. The pediatric wing project was the turning point. $4,500,000 allocated under my oversight. Vendor coordination, equipment calibration, regulatory compliance. I executed all of it within deadline tolerance. They saw the outcome, not the process. To them, money appeared when needed. Problems resolved when presented. They assumed continuity. I audited everything at 30. Total transfers to family $31,908, $54. Total verified returns $0. Total confirmed emergencies $2,140. Actual need existed. But it was a fraction, the rest was pattern. 3 inputs: guilt, status, pressure, manufactured urgency, 1 output, extraction, and I maintained the system, not emotionally, procedurally. I treated each request like a task ticket. Open, resolve, close, no escalation, no review, until the volume exceeded tolerance. And tolerance is not infinite. It is a threshold. I reached it without announcing it. Because systems do not warn before they reconfigure. They simply shift. They never asked what I actually controlled. That was their blind spot. They saw outcomes, not infrastructure. That distinction created leverage they never accounted for. My role was not administrative, it was architectural. I designed and maintained the operational backbone of Al-Safa Medical Complex. Every system intersected through controlled access layers. I held root-level permissions on most of them. Access control came first. Staff ID provisioning, biometric clearance tiers, restricted zone routing. Every badge in that building passed through a system I configured. Entry logs were time-stamped down to the second. I could trace movement across 12 floors with a single query. Then procurement. Vendor onboarding, invoice validation, payment authorization. I reviewed contracts before finance processed them. Over 14 months, I approved 263 invoices totaling $6,742,119. $8. No discrepancies cleared without my signature. That level of control required precision. It also created dependency. The pediatric wing was my largest deployment. 42 beds, 8 surgical suites, 12 neonatal stations. Each one mapped into a network of sensors, alarms, and failsafes. Oxygen flow regulators calibrated to 0-1 variance. Power redundancy configured across 3 independent circuits. If one system failed, another compensated automatically. That was design. I also managed compliance documentation, regulatory audits, safety certifications, equipment lifecycle tracking. Every asset had a record, serial number, maintenance schedule, performance logs. Nothing existed without traceability. My family benefited from this without understanding it. I processed my brother's contractor application through a hospital subcontractor channel, fast-tracked approval, reduced his wait time from 90 days to 11. He never knew the difference. I negotiated my mother's legal settlement using a firm already on our vendor list. Discounted rates, expedited filing, Paid through structured billing, I approved myself. My sister used my network indirectly. Job referrals, access to administrative contacts. She called it coincidence. It was not. They assumed access was passive. It was configured. I maintained a private audit layer, separate from hospital systems, personal ledger, financial flows, time investments, indirect support, every entry time-stamped, every claim categorized. I tracked my own labor outside official hours, emergency overrides, vendor corrections, compliance adjustments. Over 10 months, that unpaid labor totaled $22,804. $19 in equivalent value. That number mattered. It represented imbalance. Because while I was maintaining complex systems that sustained lives, I was also sustaining a parallel system that drained mine. And both operated on the same principle. Permissions define behavior. Permissions can be revoked. I reviewed my access levels again at 6:12 a.m. No changes yet. But the architecture was clear, and I knew exactly where to apply pressure when the time came. The breaking point did not arrive with raised voices. It arrived as a document already printed, already decided. I reviewed it again at 12:18 p.m. in my office. Door closed, systems dashboard active, transfer agreement, my property, their assumption. I didn't react, I initiated sequence. First, financial access. I opened my banking control panel. 3 linked accounts. 2 shared permissions. 1 legacy transfer rule. I disabled the rule in 8 seconds. Removed shared access in 12. Confirmed changes through biometric verification. No alert sent, silent modification. Second, legal exposure. I contacted Hassan and Karim Associates, not by phone, by secured client portal. I terminated all third-party authorization linked to my profile. Case reference HK44A219 closed. Representation revoked. Timestamp logged. 12:26 p.m. Third property registry. I accessed my ownership file, Unit 14B, title clean. No liens, no shared claims. I added a restriction clause, transfer freeze without dual authentication. Legal and biometric. Irreversible without my direct consent. That removed their primary objective. Then I moved to indirect support. My brother's contractor access, I reviewed his file. Incomplete compliance. Missing 2 safety certifications. Previously bypassed under my override, I removed the override. Status updated. Access suspended pending verification. My sister's referral pipeline. I withdrew endorsement letters, not publicly, internally. Flags added. Future requests required independent validation. No automatic routing through my network. My mother's financial buffer, I reviewed her account patterns. Average monthly deficit, $1,120. I had been covering that through silent transfers. I stopped. No notification, just absence. At 12:41 p.m. I paused, not for emotion, for accuracy. Every change aligned with existing policy. No external violation, no escalation required. That mattered, because this was not retaliation, it was reversion. I restored systems to their default state. No overrides, no preferential access. At 12:47 p.m. My phone vibrated, my mother, first call, I let it pass. At 12:49 p.m. my sister messaged. Did something change? Yes, but I didn't respond. At 12:52 p.m. my brother called twice. Then a third time, I declined all 3. Instead, I opened a new log entry. Date. Time, action set, financial permissions revoked. Legal access terminated, professional overrides removed, status complete. I leaned back in my chair, not to reflect, to verify, systems stable, no conflicts, no residual access points, clean execution. At 1:03 p.m. The second phase initiated without input from me. Failed transfer attempt. Insufficient access. That was the first signal they received, not a warning, a result. I closed the dashboard, locked the file, no announcement, no confrontation, just a system returning to equilibrium. The reaction began at 1:07 p.m. It did not start with questions, it started with accusation. My sister called first, I answered on the second ring, timing signals control. "What did you do?" she asked, no greeting, no context, direct pressure. "I updated access permissions," I said, my voice remained even. No deviation. "You cut everything," she said, "my application just got flagged." "I removed overrides," I replied. She laughed, but it was unstable. She said I was being dramatic. She said I was trying to prove something. That word mattered, prove. It implied she believed this was emotional. It was. At 1:11 p.m. my brother joined the call. Conference mode, coordinated escalation. His tone was controlled, slower, more deliberate. "This is unnecessary," he said. "You're creating problems that didn't exist." I logged the statement, denial of dependency, standard response. "The problems existed," I said. "They were just covered." He shifted immediately, urgency tactic. He said his contractor access was suspended, that he had pending work, that delays would cost him money. "That access required compliance," I said. "It was previously bypassed." "You approved it," he said. "I corrected it," I replied, silence. Brief but measurable. At 1:15 p.m. my mother entered the call. Her tone was softer than before, controlled but strained. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "I am restoring baseline conditions," I said. She paused, then shifted. Guilt. "We are your family," she said. "We depend on you." That word mattered. Depend. "I'm aware," I said. "And you're just going to stop?" she asked. I paused for 1 second, not for effect, for precision. "I already have," I said. That was the moment the escalation intensified. My sister raised her voice. Not screaming, sharpened. She said I was selfish, that I was abandoning them, that people would hear about this. Reputation threat. I did not respond to tone, I responded to structure. "There is no abandonment," I said. "There is removal of unsupported access." My brother tried a different angle. Future leverage. He said I should not expect support from them if I continued. I noted the pattern. "That aligns with current output," I said. My mother attempted one final shift, emotional recall. She referenced specific events. Childhood, education, sacrifice, each one selected to trigger obligation. I acknowledged each point. Not emotionally, procedurally. "I have logged all prior contributions," I said. "They are accounted for." That disrupted her sequence. "You're talking like a machine," she said. "I am talking with accuracy," I replied. The call ended at 1:22 p.m. not by me. They disconnected. That indicated loss of control. No counter-argument, no leverage remaining. At 1:29 p.m. I received 6 messages, rapid sequence. Different tones, same objective, reverse the changes. I did not respond. Instead, I opened my system logs, reviewed all actions taken, verified no residual access remained. Because escalation is not noise, it is confirmation. Confirmation that the system change has taken effect. And theirs had already begun to fail. I did not respond to any of their messages the next morning. Silence, when used correctly, is not avoidance. It is pressure redistribution across a system that expects immediate compliance. At 8:03 a.m. I began constructing the file, not emotional documentation, not narrative, structured evidence. Clean, sequential, verifiable, first layer, financial records. I exported 24 months of transaction history from my banking interface. CSV format. Sorted by recipient. Filtered for family-linked accounts. Every transfer categorized. Amount, timestamp, stated purpose. Total $31,908. $54, no rounding, no approximation, exact value. Second layer, communication logs. I extracted message histories from 3 threads. My mother, my sister, my brother. I indexed each request against the corresponding transfer. Cross-reference accuracy reached 100%. Keywords flagged. Urgent, medical, just this once. Frequency count attached. Pattern density was high, that mattered. Third layer, verification. I contacted 3 institutions referenced in prior claims, 2 hospitals, 1 pharmacy chain. I did not request sensitive data. I requested billing confirmation tied to provided dates. Response rate 3 out of 3. Confirmed matches 0. That removed the primary justification layer. Fourth layer, professional overrides. I accessed internal logs from the hospital system. Contractor access approvals, referral endorsements, compliance exceptions. My brother's file showed 2 bypassed safety requirements. Logged under my credentials. Time-stamped. My sister's referral pipeline contained 3 internal endorsements, all routed through my access tier. I annotated each one. Source, action, impact, 5th layer, utility and expense mapping. I compared their declared financial strain against actual consumption patterns. Electricity usage exceeded baseline by 18.6%. Internet bandwidth remained at premium tier. No downgrade attempts recorded, claimed reduction. No supporting behavior, that contradiction was critical. At 9:12 a.m. I compiled the summary. Total support, $31,908, $54 verified necessity, $2,140, unverified claims, $29,768, $54, professional overrides granted, 6, overrides removed. Only data. Then I added projection modeling. Based on current spending patterns and 0 external income adjustment, projected deficit reached $6,480 within 60 days. Conservative estimate. At 9:26 a.m. I formatted the entire structure into a report. Section headers aligned, tables clean, supporting documents attached. Then I locked the file, digital signature embedded, timestamp sealed, no edits possible without trace. This was not for discussion. This was for exposure, because gaslighting requires ambiguity, and I had just removed every variable they relied on. At 9:34 a.m. my phone rang again, my sister. Then my mother, then my brother. 3 calls, 7 minutes apart, predictable sequence. I did not answer. I reviewed the file once more, every number precise, every claim anchored, every gap visible. The trap was complete, not emotional, administrative. They stopped calling by midday. That shift was not relief. It was recalibration. When direct pressure fails, they move to controlled engagement. At 3:18 p.m. my mother sent a message, tone adjusted, softer, slower, structured. "We should talk," she wrote, calmly. I read it twice, not for meaning, for pattern, no accusation, no urgency. That was intentional. This was not reconciliation. This was strategy. I checked the timing. Rent overdue within 48 hours. Compliance review active. Financial access removed. Their system was entering constraint. They needed negotiation. I replied at 3:22 p.m. time and location. No emotion, only logistics. She responded immediately. Al Rauder Cafe. 8:00 p.m. public environment. Controlled setting. That detail mattered. Public space reduces confrontation. It encourages restraint. It allows narrative management. They wanted leverage through perception. I accepted. At 7:41 p.m. I arrived, early, always early. I selected a table with clear visibility of entrances. Minimal ambient noise. Back to the wall. Line of sight maintained. I ordered water, nothing else. They arrived at 8:04 p.m. coordinated delay. My sister entered first, my brother followed, my mother last. Sequence indicated alignment. They sat across from me, close enough to apply pressure, far enough to maintain composure. My mother began, voice controlled, measured delivery. "We don't need conflict," she said. "We need understanding." I did not respond immediately. Silence introduces imbalance. My sister leaned forward. "You've gone too far," she said. "People are starting to notice." Reputation pressure, reintroduced. My brother followed. "We can fix this," he said. "Temporary support just until things stabilize." He used the word temporary twice. That indicated awareness of dependency. I noted it, then I spoke. "I reviewed all variables," I said. That shifted the tone instantly. My mother's posture changed. My sister leaned back slightly. My brother paused. "What variables?" she asked. "Financial, behavioral, historical," I said. I kept it simple. Total support over 24 months, $31,908, $54, verified necessity, $2,140. My sister shook her head. "You're reducing everything to numbers," she said. "They define the pattern," I replied. My mother shifted again. Tone less soft now. "Family is not a transaction," she said. I agreed. "But imbalance is measurable," I said. Silence followed. My brother tried to regain structure. "We're not asking for everything," he said. "Just help like before, like before." That phrase mattered. Before meant unrestricted access. No accountability. Continuous extraction. "That system is no longer active," I said. My sister exhaled sharply. "So that's it," she said. "That is correct," I replied. My mother reached toward me, not fully, just enough to signal appeal. "You're making this permanent," she said. "I am making it accurate," I said. That was the fracture point. The truce was never real. It was an attempt to restore control. And it failed the moment data entered the conversation. I did not adjust my posture. I did not lower my voice. I maintained the same tone I used when presenting audit reports. Neutral. Precise. Public environments reward consistency. My brother attempted containment first. "This isn't the place," he said. "We should discuss this privately." That was narrative control. Limit exposure, preserve ambiguity. I declined. "This is already distributed," I said. "Financial systems, legal systems, institutional records." That disrupted his frame. My sister shifted in her seat. She scanned the room, not for support, for witnesses. That was new. I opened my tablet. No sudden movement, just execution. The report was already loaded, indexed, sectioned. "I prepared documentation," I said. My mother's tone changed immediately. "This is unnecessary," she said. "You're escalating." "I am concluding," I replied. Then I began. Section 1, Financial Transfers. I read each entry, date, amount, purpose, outcome. February 12, $1,120, medical, no billing record. April 3, $780, emergency, no verification. Each line was clean, no interpretation, just alignment. My sister interrupted. "You're twisting things," she said. I didn't respond to the statement. I responded to the record. "All entries are cross-referenced," I said. That ended her interruption. Section 2, Professional Overrides. I displayed internal logs, contractor access approvals, referral endorsements, compliance bypasses. 6 overrides issued, I said. All removed. My brother leaned forward. "You're using your position against us," he said. "I am removing unauthorized advantage," I replied. That distinction mattered. Section 3, Behavioral Contradiction. Utility consumption versus declared hardship. Data visualization displayed, clear variance. "Usage exceeds baseline by 18.6%, I said. My mother inhaled sharply. "Minimal but measurable." Then I paused. "Look at me for a second. If every statement you made could be verified instantly, how long would your narrative survive?" Because that was the environment now. No interpretation, no revision, just records. My brother attempted one final pivot. Lower tone, controlled. "We can resolve this quietly," he said. "There's no need to go further." I nodded once. "This is the final stage," I said. Then I opened the projection model. 60-day deficit, $6,480, I said, based on current inputs. No one spoke. My sister looked down. My mother's hands remained still. My brother leaned back. That was system recognition. I closed the tablet, no dramatic gesture. "This is not punitive," I said. "This is alignment with reality." The cafe noise filled the silence. Conversations resumed. Movement returned. But at that table, the structure had already collapsed. There was nothing left to negotiate, nothing left to distort, only outcome. The system began correcting itself within hours. No delay, no warning, just output adjusting to input. At 9:08 a.m. the next morning, the first failure registered. Rent payment attempt. Declined, insufficient funds. Logged automatically, notice issued, no override available. At 9:13 a.m. late fee applied, $95. Slightly higher due to new compliance tier, that detail mattered. At 9:47 a.m. utility billing triggered, independent account now active. Invoice generated, $428, $16. 48-hour deadline, no buffer layer. I monitored through the dashboard, not constantly, just at intervals, enough to confirm system integrity. At 10:22 a.m. my brother attempted to re-enter through a previous access point. Secondary contractor channel, request denied, credentials inactive. Attempt logged, that indicated search behavior. At 11:05 a.m. my sister sent a message. Short, reduced tone. "Can you reverse this?" No accusation, no pressure, just request. I did not respond. At 12:11 p.m. my mother called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was slower, controlled but strained. "Things are getting difficult," she said, that word again. Difficult, it meant reality was now visible. At 1:36 p.m. compliance review escalated, documentation not submitted, status updated to non-compliant, automated follow-up issued. At 3:02 p.m. second rent attempt failed, same result, logged, escalated, no intervention. No adjustment, just system consistency. Their structure had no redundancy, no reserve capacity, no verified income streams aligned with expense levels. Everything had been supplemented, quietly, continuously, by me. Remove that layer and the imbalance surfaced immediately. By 5:18 p.m. I received 3 more messages, different tones. Same objective. My sister asked for time, my brother proposed a plan, my mother asked for help, all requests, no accountability. I reviewed each message once, then archived them. At 8:44 p.m. I checked the dashboard again. No payments, no submissions, no adjustments, system unchanged. That was the distinction. I had built a structure that operated independently. They had built one that depended entirely on external correction, and without that correction it failed exactly as predicted. Not chaotic, not dramatic, precise, because systems do not collapse emotionally. They collapse mathematically. I did not attend any follow-up requests. There were 4 scheduled. I declined all of them without explanation. Silence was sufficient. By the 7th day their status had fully transitioned. Non-compliant, payment overdue, access restricted, all actions generated through standard protocol. No manual input required. At 10:18 a.m. I reviewed the final system log. Rent unresolved, utilities pending. Compliance window expired, escalation issued automatically, no intervention from me, that was intentional. For years I operated under a flawed assumption. That proximity created obligation. That being able to solve a problem meant I was required to solve it. That assumption created imbalance. Now the structure was corrected. Their outcomes were tied directly to their inputs. No overrides, no silent corrections, no hidden support layers, just cause and effect. At 1:42 p.m. my phone received one final message from my mother. No request, no pressure. Just a statement. We didn't think you would actually stop. I read it once, then archived it because that sentence explained everything. They assumed continuity. They assumed access was permanent. They assumed I would keep maintaining a system that only benefited them. They were incorrect. At 3:01 a.m. I returned to the hospital corridor. Same glass walls, same donor plaque, same controlled environment. My name was still there, contribution unchanged, structure intact, the systems were stable. Oxygen flow balanced, power redundancy active, no anomalies detected. I checked the monitoring panel. Variance within acceptable range, I logged it. Closed the interface, then I looked at the corridor clock. 3:03 a.m. Tell me something. What happens when you finally remove yourself from a system that was designed to consume you? I stood there for a moment, not reflecting, just observing, because the absence of pressure is not loss. It is precision, and for the first time in years everything was operating exactly as it should. No overrides, no distortion, no hidden cost, just a system, balanced.